Okay, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here, especially on
a holiday.
On a holiday.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we're open every day of the year except obviously Sundays and Christmas, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve. Yeah, so.
Except we still work on Christmas Eve. We're just not
Yeah,
open.
that's right.
Deliveries.
Yeah, McKinley, you've been on a few of those. A bunch of those. Have you been on Christmas Eve?
I went last year.
You went last year, yeah. Yeah, it's fun. We eat sushi first, and then, or sorry, we deliver first, and then we go eat sushi. That's been the tradition for. It's been, yeah, it is. It's Christmas sushi. That's been our tradition for like 7 years. We go deliver a bunch of pianos, and then.
The store's open all of those holidays, but it doesn't mean you have to work all those holidays. But it means you can work all those if you want to.
All right, so where Victoria left it, so a couple times ago, for those of you that weren't here, we first aligned all of the hammers, made them all straight up and down, aligned them so you could put a straight edge across, back and forth. This way, you just want them to all look like perfect, directly centered over the strings. And then these you do in the piano so that you can slide it down and glue it on so that's perfect. The spring acts as your clamp, and that gets it so that it glues it on so that it's hopefully exactly centered, and so the wedge there of the bichord is engaging both strings at exactly the same time, which is what you want for the bichords. Okay, trichords, same thing. You want them to wedge in there. That's what we're going to talk about today. And then she did so those are done in the piano also. Then all the flat dampers are done outside of the piano with the piano in a cradle facing up. And so essentially gravity then acts as your clamp, I suppose. Okay, so come have a look at these, a close look at the trichord dampers. And what you'll see is they're kind of acting right now more or less as almost a flat damper, because they're just kind of resting on top. They're not really engaging in between. So we're going to talk about how to get that. Do you want to see, or do you want to see how they're kind of resting on top?
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is that the wedge dampers just are too thick. They can't fit in between the strings, and part of it is that they're just fuzzy, right? They need to be ironed. So we're going to talk about that. This is easiest to do outside of the piano by removing each damper head. Okay, so if you have a look at that, you can see that it's just really very fuzzy, and it's just. And then if you look at it at that view, you can see the wedges are very thick. So first thing, I have a fresh razor blade. I'm just going to kind of clean out the fuzzies. There's a lot in there. That's actually unusual that it just after a few strokes you're getting a lot. And I mean, I'm kind of cutting, but not really. Mostly I'm just kind of cleaning out the bottom of the trench, right? Yeah, well, and we're going to iron the fuzzies, but for now, you see how much there's coming out of there? So again, it doesn't really matter if you cut it. I mean, you don't want to cut it all the way down, but you're mostly just cleaning. So that helps quite a bit. It's surprising, you wouldn't think so, but it does. This is just a trick that I picked up, I don't know, 15 years ago at a PTG convention. Okay, quite a bit that is coming out. And then now I'm going to kind of open them up. You can see there's just like there's no way the strings could get in there, or I guess vice versa, that could get in the strings. So the reason these pliers are discolored is because I've used these for years as my damper ironing pliers. So you want to kind of find the middle ground where it's hot and irons it, but not so hot that it scorches the felt. And I think, yeah. Okay, so I've done just that one side just a little bit. See how much that...
Right. There.
Okay. Just done the one side, that's it. And you don't want to squeeze. I'm really just kind of tapping, because if you squeeze, you could actually get it like super elongated if you wanted to. Yeah, I did this out of habit. That's not good. It's better on your hand. Did that from repinning. So you kind of want to gently work it into a nice wedge shape. And really, I'm not squeezing very much at all. I'm just trying to find, and then like at the edges, if one side seems to be lengthening more than the other, or if I see any more fuzzies in there, kind of iron those down. If you're in a pinch, like I've done this a lot at customers' houses, where I don't have a blowtorch, then you can just find a flat piece of metal and try and rub it. Like you can rub it on your jeans a lot until it starts to get hot, and then quickly put it in there. Obviously the blowtorch is I'm still seeing some. Oh, that's better. We're getting close. One of these sides still seems a bit thick. You don't want to get it so thin that it's weak, but you want it thin enough that it will definitely get into the strings. Yeah, it's still pretty hot. And by the way, if you hold it in the blowtorch too long, it will scorch the felt if it's too hot. Okay, that's kind of coming along. Can you see that? We're not quite there. We've still got some fuzzies here. Why don't you hold that and try these damper pliers. trying to ensure that they, that they're the same length, because as you kind of iron them and squeeze them a little bit, even if it's just a little tapping, they lengthen quite a bit. So you got to watch and make sure that one side isn't lengthening more than the other. I'm actually going to move this string over. It's not totally centered. That's actually another trick that you can use in a pinch, is rather than changing the damper, you can't do it on A graphs, of course, but on these strings you can do it.
Hold it still. A little bit in focus. Get close.
Closer?
Is this the final?
I don't know. We'll try it, see how it
Should've
does.
taken like a before and after picture. Some fine adjustments.
Cut off the video of the before and the video of the after.
Or you can just look at a neighbor.
You want it? Who wants it?
Go ahead and pass it around. Here's a before.
Oh.
So there's 7 of these. Pass it that way.
Oh, yeah, when you compare it to the before, that's
Dramatic.
significant. Without the before, it's hard to see what you've been doing with all this.
I'm going to try and see if it'll fit.
Can we take a side-by-side photo of those?
Yeah. I'm still not liking it. It's still too,
Kind of opens up to the sides.
yeah.
Can
It's
you hold them in front of your black shirt?
Like a flower.
It's still too fuzzy. And it's,
Over, away from your button. Right. Yeah, that'll be good. You want that angle? Now do the other angle. I think you can see it better that way.
we can do one more. We can do one more round, see if that gets us a little better. Because it's still, now it is good to take it slow, because you can always go, you can always be more aggressive. But if you go too much, then you either have to start cutting it off or start over. I'm going to focus kind of on the tip, because it's the tip that isn't getting into the strings very well.
Just this morning, my 5-year-old son Zachary was telling me something's in the piano. Come see, and he came and he showed me the dampers that he saw, a square versus a triangle one. He said, "Why are these square?"
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
impressive.
All right, future piano technician.
That's an observant child.
Yeah.
He's going places. And curious.
Okay, that's getting thinner. See if it works.
Angle it this way. Tangled up.
You see it?
Good.
She loves me for my dampers. Okay, there, that's getting in there. Now let's see if I put it on. So when you put it on, this is how I like to do it when you're kind of doing it for the first time in the piano, is sort of before you put it on the wire, kind of put it in there and test it and see if it'll kind of stay in there, sort of run it up and down, sort of get the shape to where it wants to be, or where you want it to be. And just make sure it doesn't like fold over. You know what I mean? So that it's not, maybe in on the top, but kind of folded on the bottom. Okay, that's dampening well. And you want it, I think it's called the beard, is the part of the damper that actually goes through the strings and is on the other side. So, technically the beard isn't really necessary, except maybe it helps to kind of make sure everything gets guided in. And another thing you'll notice finishing up is that if you take it really, really slowly, let's find it. Okay, if you take it really slowly and it doesn't go all the way in, like if you go fast, it'll go all the way in, right? But if you go very slowly, like as slow as you can, it's not going all the way in. So that tells me it needs a little bit more ironing. So you can hear that's really good when I go fast. It's good dampening. And then very slowly. So that left one, I'm not crazy about that left one, which tells me that I want the right to be a little bit narrower. I'm going to squeeze on the right. Maybe I'll iron Maybe I'll iron this one a little bit more. Right, everybody see that? If the left is ringing, it's the right side you want ironed more. Oh, it looks like.
That being the left side's ringing, that the left side is skinnier, and you need to make the right side skinnier to get in there farther.
Say that again?
So if the left side is ringing, you want to do the right. Is that because the left side is skinnier and
Right.
that's why it's ringing? So you need the
Right.
right one to match it more, so enter in there farther.
Exactly. And then maybe on this side, I'll just kind of run over it on the heat to hopefully get any fuzzies down. I won't squeeze it on that side, but yeah, it's getting pretty thin there. It's looking pretty good. Got the fuzzies down and got it pretty narrow. Okay, maybe work with that a little bit more, but we won't belabor the point. So there's just 7 of those. So Victoria, you want to take over? Do the next 6?
Okay.
You comfortable with that?
The fire is kind of scary. Get used to it.
I'm pretty sure you can handle it.
Yeah. Okay. So if that one's ready to see.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we could work on it a little bit, but it's probably all right. Okay, thanks guys.